Alright traders, welcome back to another video. So in this video we're going to go over a trade that I have open right now, and I'm going to break it down step by step exactly why I took the trade and basically the secret to price action trading and how you can use it to improve your own trading. So if that sounds good to you, all I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up like button to help out the YouTube algorithm. And if you're interested in joining our free Discord, link is in the description down below. Without further ado, let's get into it. So let's get into this trade. All right, this is on the US dollar CAD, US dollar Canadian dollar, and we're going to start off on the 4-hour chart. So what I'm going to do is just walk you down the entire trade process and show you exactly why I took the trade and what my thoughts were. So this is going to be pretty much price action trading combined with pattern trading. If you don't know, I am really a pattern trader and a price action trader. I kind of combine the two, and if you get a little confused in the patterns part of the video, don't worry about it. You really don't need to know too much about them for now, but if you want to learn more about these patterns, you can join the mentoring program. Link is in the description down below, or the free Discord that I mentioned earlier, okay, and that will clear up any confusion you have on that. So let's take a look at this chart right here. So what do we see when we first take a look at this chart? We immediately clearly see this move down, right? And then we get a push back up. Now, if you guys aren't already aware, we follow the trend trading system. Okay, we only want to trade with the trend, and the way we define a trend is very simple. It's just higher highs, well in this case lower lows, lower highs, or higher highs, higher lows. Okay, so when we take a look at this chart, what we see is lows being broken here. Let me get rid of this magnet tool. Lows being broken here, right? So we now have a lower low, and so we expect what? We expect a lower high, okay? So we expect the lower high to come in right around here. Okay, we get that push lower, but then what happens, okay? And this is where the price action, basically the secret to price action comes in, okay? We try to push for that lower low, but what do we see ends up happening, right? We get that push down, and then what happens? We get a massive push back up. So what does this tell us about what just happened? Well, it tells us that the bears or the sellers tried to sell this off to make that lower low, but all of a sudden, what do we get? We get a explosive move to the upside. And that tells us that the bears or the sellers are not as strong as they may appear. Okay, not only did we get an explosive move up, right, as you can see clearly there, but we got a very deep retracement back towards these highs. Okay, that tells us that if the bears were able to push all the way down here, right, from this high, but then the bulls or the buyers are able to push all the way back up to these highs, these previous highs, well then the bulls are just as strong, if not more strong than the sellers. So, seeing all of this, okay? Seeing all this, now how do we interpret this data, okay? Well, we interpret it as a possible reversal. We think that the bulls are stronger than the bears here, and so if the bulls are stronger than the bears, then we are going to anticipate higher highs, higher lows. Okay, so that is the exact reasoning behind this trade for now. That's the reason why I was looking to buy the US dollar CAD. Okay, so now we take a look at this swing right here. Okay, this is now our swing that we have, the most interest in. And then what we do is take a Fibonacci retracement tool. We go from low to high right here. Okay, and that gives us some levels of support to look to buy on this. Let me get rid of this line. Okay, come on, cooperate here. It's not going to. Okay, here we go. Make sure that's accurate. Okay, so this gives us some support levels to take a look at. So then what do? We zoom in a little bit and we just see what's going on here. So what do we see? We got our move up, then we get our move down, and then what do we see happen? We caught some support, okay, right around that 50% Fibonacci retracement level. Okay, so we got that support, and we also see that obviously this is a higher low, right? Okay, so again, higher highs, higher lows. So we see that that is happening right before our eyes. So we see that this higher low is forming, and if a higher low is forming, what can we expect? A higher high, right? So what do we think is going to happen? Well, we think we're going to get something like this. And of course we do, but let me show you exactly how I decided to use this information to have a target and actually take the trade, okay? So we have all of that said and done. Now let's jump into the lower time frame, the 1 hour chart. And what do we have here? Our beloved M1 pattern, okay? And don't get confused here. All you really need to know about this pattern for now is that we look to buy at this D area here. Okay, so you can see that that D area is a level of support in this scenario. Let me just mark it out. It's going to look something like this. Okay, that line is basically where we look to buy. And so when we get this pattern, which is telling us it's a bullish pattern, so we know it's telling us to buy. Okay, once we get that pattern inside of the higher time frame sort of thesis that we're going to make new highs, right? We're trading with the higher time frame. Now we jump into a lower time frame. And now that we're in a lower time frame, we can actually look at, you know, the nitty gritty. We can see, we can pinpoint an entry point. Okay, we are pinpointing what to look at specifically. So we're using the higher time frame to get our sort of direction, and then the lower time frame to time our entries. So what do? Well, we buy on this D point on our pattern completion point, and then we look to take it higher. Now, how do we actually decide where our target is going to be? What are we trying to achieve here? Well, we go back to this 4 hour time frame, and we take our move up here. And all we do is simply copy and paste it, and this is what we call an ABCD pattern, and we extend it forward on our most recent low point, or our most recent pullback. And this is what we call an ABCD pattern. Okay, and what you can see is that this gives us our expected move higher. And look at what happens, okay? There's no coincidences here, okay? Look at where price went. So I won't lie, okay? You can see I have a stop loss in place. I was trailing, okay? What we do is we trail our stop loss to try to capture as much profit as possible. We slowly move our stop loss up as price moves higher. Now, I should have been out of this trade somewhere around here, but I held it a little longer just so I could make this video, and so now my stop loss is right around here, below this big green candle here, okay? That I'm trailing on what we call engulfing candles, right? It's the common term for them. So that is how we are trailing this trade. And now just notice how we got in all the way down here on a low time frame, right? 1 hour time frame. Yet we were able to target a massive target. Now, usually I don't really go for targets this large. I'll usually take it off somewhere near the highs, right? These previous highs here. But in this scenario, it moved so fast and so much so quickly, right, that I could just easily trail it without getting stopped out. Okay, so it kept going in my favor, so I just kept moving my stop loss up and up and up, and you know, it's a great trade, right? It's what we call a home run. So what I want you to take away from this video is that you have to read the context of the market. What is the market telling you? In this scenario, the market was telling you that the sellers, or the bears, were strong at first, but then they failed, they got weaker. The bulls really showed how strong they were, and so we expected the bulls to actually come in and take over this market and get a reversal going, okay? And then once we saw that higher low forming, we knew that we would likely get a higher high, and we knew that it would probably be an ABCD pattern to the upside. And then we go on down to a lower time frame. We use that lower time frame to time our entry, okay? And in this case, we used a pattern, but you don't have to use a pattern if you don't want to. Entered the trade. We took it up to our take profit, which again, usually I don't go for this massive of a take profit. It was just not really coincidence, but just, I guess, luck that it happened to move this strongly, okay? So, you know, most of the time it won't move in a straight line straight up like this, okay? This was just a gift, okay? And so we used all of that, put it all together to come into this one trade, and pick a direction. We followed that direction, we entered in that direction, and we are now going to take our profit at our destination, right? Our target. So that is going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like to help out the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Also, hit that bell notification icon to get notified every time I post. And if you're interested in the mentoring program or the free Discord, all of those links are down below as well. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.